Every time you look back on what you've achieved, I think it's more the path that took you to your destination. It's the story you tell, how you got there. In the end, it's a lot of small steps that you have to take. Every single one is worth taking. There are no shortcuts. It's always a new beginning and a new journey that we're embarking on.
A new beginning and no shortcuts. Welcome to our next Miss Life. This is the 5th in a row that we're doing. And it's true. It is a new beginning. Every migration you're going to take. And this is what we're going to talk about. Secure migration. Miss Life with secure migration, right? Gabe?
Exactly right, Jan. That's what it is all about. So,
But however, Gabe, Miss Life, hold on. AI in action.
it is.
Something is wrong. We have the wrong slide.
What? No. What
We
is
have
it
the wrong
now?
deck.
All right,
Shit.
we just changed it.
Yeah, hold on. Let me search for it. Yes, here it is. Wrong screen. I'm sorry, guys. From the directorship. Let's see. All right. AI in action. That's where we go.
AI in action.
Ta-da!
How awesome is it?
All right, we have a really packed agenda for you. Last time we did this, it was just 1 hour. Today we extended it 2 hours because we really want to give you that really good feeling on what it takes to migrate. Because I get a lot of questions from our customers where, hey, Jan, this is all great. We really like your AI operations, your AI in action. But how do I get there? How do I get from, not from A to B, but how do I get from A to Z? We need to put this in a production. We need to make this live for you. And how are we going to do this? Well, that is what today is all about. We're going to have customer interviews from CMC, from Derby College, and where we started off with our friends from Aston Martin. And we're going to walk you through customers that were existing EX switch customers that migrated their operations to the Juniper Mist Cloud. We're going to have customers that have full stack of us under management. That is what we're going to talk about. Right, Gabe?
Exactly right, Jan. And it's exciting to see you all here and that we can show you all the benefits AI can truly bring to you. And that's where these coming 2 hours are all about, is to make it lively and to make it real to you and to give you concrete examples on what AI can bring to that.
Wonderful. But before we kick it off, yesterday we received some marvelous news, some really great news, and I'm going to share it with you here on the slide. We, yet another year, are being nominated as a leader in the Magic Quadrant. This is astonishing. This is just amazing. Truly great leadership that we have, great products that we have, great execution that we have. If you see where we were a couple of years ago and how fast we tracked from the lower left corner to really the solid upper right corner. Last year we were there. This year it's just confirmed we claimed that leader position. Gabe, anything to add maybe?
Yeah, well, to your point, it's really, I'm really stoked to see the speed of how we went from the coolest vendor part into the challengers, into the innovating part, into the leaders part last year. And now that we are truly the leader of the leaders in this Magic Quadrant, which tells a lot because we are the challenger in this market, and we do have the best vision and we do have the best execution in the market. And I want to thank you all for that, because you as customers in this call have made sure that we are there in this position, and I really sincerely want to thank you for that and for the support moving on.
Yeah, and just as I want to double click, folks, really, for the existing customers, thank you. But for the new customers that are on the call, this is your experience you will get when you join with us into this venture. If you look at it, Juniper had the highest rating in the market, 4.9 out of 5. of a maximum score of 5. Last year, I think we had about 160 ratings. This year, we had 432 ratings, where 85% gave us a 5-star rating. Unbelievable. You have to earn this. You're just not receiving this on a gold plate. You have to earn this trust from your customers. And just to have a brief view on that, why do customers really like us? Why do people really enjoy this AI in action? Is because of all of these here. And I'm sure you can read it out. But if you see the majority of these customers, it's about 96% on average per ticket that things went down. Instead of really spending days, weeks, maybe even months in troubleshooting what is happening into the network. No, let's fast track it. Instead of going horizontally through the network to see what's wrong and then dive vertically deep into that specific device what's wrong, what we do is there is a problem that manifested and we diagonally fast track you to here is what the cure is. We don't want you to open tickets with us. We will open tickets with you. If you look at ServiceNow, 90% reduction of the open support tickets. If you look at Dartmouth, escalated tickets were down by a factor of 10. All these things are really why people are joining us. It's really that best user experience and the better IT outcomes, saving money and making sure things run smoothly. And the reason why these customers are choosing us, Gabe, could you enlighten us a little bit on that?
Well, there are actually 5 points for that, and thank you for that to highlight some of the business outcomes customers are experiencing on using AI. And that's where this day, or this afternoon is all about, because this journey is new. We are the only vendor who can truly bring AI as a relevant thing into your business, as these customers customer examples or have already experienced. And it all breaks down actually to 5 points. We are, one, uniquely positioned in identifying and managing and controlling every single end user at your network, whether it's wireless connected or it's wired connected. Every single end user on your network, we are able to monitor, to register, and to manage moving forward. And that's because we have a uniquely patented AI logarithm attached to that we can measure every end user every 2 seconds, 150 phrases per end user, per device. So that's the kind of detail we capture to manage your network for you in an automated way, so that the AI-driven logical steps behind that to help you manage your network is embedded into the platform, right? So that's all monitored or captured around the AI-driven operations and support. Importantly, also that it is all managed by the cloud, right? So a microservice cloud, which is the latest generation of cloud, which ensures the fact, actually two major things, that you have a 99.9, 11 dots behind the 9 uptime guarantee of the platform itself, whilst we are improving and engaging with your network and adding new features every second, every hour, every week, more and more over into the platform, right? And last but it's not last but not least. There's one last but not least before this. We are with our BLE patented BLA technology, we are able to do location-based services where you are able to really customize your end customer experience through our network. And now finally, last but not least, all driven and underpinned by 100% open API infrastructure. So you can program and make code against that in every form or shape, which is uniquely available and very flexible for you to use. So, and then, Jan, what does it bring more than just the AI experience on itself?
Yeah, amazing. Just before I go to the next slide here, let me just recap this. Client level visibility, as no one ever have done before. It is about getting 150 states per client, per device, send that to the cloud, have our AI engine doing their magic on it. And that AI engine is like a gazillion extra pair of hands that you have at your disposal that will give you insights on the network. And in a moment, we will see that in the demo as well. The microservices cloud is infinite scalable. Seriously, there is no limit to it, to us. And we release every 2 weeks, we come out with new feature functions. As Sudhir always says, Christmas comes every Thursday. Yeah, and then the digital engagement, we open up IoT to a different level on the network, thanks to our complete open API stack. And with all of that together, we built our client automation, client-to-cloud automation and insights. It's really that end-to-end stack that is so important. And it's not only about managing that stack. How many times do you need to manage a network versus how many times do you really need to operate your network? Every day there is people that cannot connect, or there's a cable, or there's something that is wrong into the network. And imagine all these radios, all these switch ports, all these power supplies globally in your network that you need to be control of. And it should be the least of your headaches. So we really are going to manage a client to cloud. And I have the honor to introduce Sudhir Mata. He's the VP of products for the enterprise in Juniper. He's going to join us from California and really going to explain to you what are we doing in products, where are we going with our story, what is actually happening behind the scenes. So Sudhir, welcome to our call. Please do your magic towards us.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the AI in Action session here at Juniper Networks. We're excited to be partnering with you. We're excited to be building your network of the next decade with you as Juniper Networks. Today, I'm going to speak to the portfolio of the AI-driven enterprise, the momentum we're seeing, the customers' use cases that we have, and finish with what is the outcomes, what is the expectation, what is the bar you have to set for yourself as you go into evaluating Juniper Networks for your network the next decade. What should you expect, and what is the bar you should hold us to for delivering outcomes? So without further ado, let me go into this. My name is Sudhir Mata. I'm the VP of Products here at Juniper's AI-driven enterprise. It is my absolute pleasure to be part of this session along with you. Now, what is the AI-driven enterprise? The AI-driven enterprise is this end-to-end portfolio of Wi-Fi, switching, and SD-WAN up into the public and private cloud, a client-to-cloud portfolio that is overlaid with AI end-to-end. This is uniquely Juniper. No one else in the industry is applying AI from client to cloud like we are doing here at Juniper Networks, and we want to show you what the outcomes this can drive for you are. So let's step into it. Number one, we're having an amazing year, an absolutely strong momentum year here at Juniper Networks for the AI-driven enterprise. The AI-driven enterprise is grown 35% year over year in revenue, and almost 50% growth year over year in bookings. Absolutely stellar above market growth. The wireless business is on fire, triple-digit growth. The EX business, which is a switching business, never been as strong as it is today. And of course, the SD-WAN business for 128 technology, record triple-digit growth. Why is all of this happening? Why are we seeing such momentum in the marketplace? It comes down to one thing and one thing only. This is the most differentiated portfolio on the planet for networking. This is the most outcome-driven portfolio on the planet for networking, and we're glad you're part of the journey with us. So, step one, let's go into a major announcement we have made. A major announcement we have made in the last couple of weeks is the introduction of the Wi-Fi 6E access point. Wi-Fi, if you're not familiar with Wi-Fi 6E, Wi-Fi operates in the 2.4 gig spectrum and the 5 gig spectrum. That's what Wi-Fi has done for the last 18 years. Now, with the advent of an additional 6 gigahertz spectrum, we are doubling the available capacity in Wi-Fi networks. And this is game changing. This is a major inflection point. But why are we so excited? Why do we have such conviction that we are going to win this transition and inflection point? Because this in front of you, right there, is the industry's best Wi-Fi 6E access point that has been announced by anybody. Today, we are proud that the AP45, it is better than what Aruba has announced with a 2x2, what Extreme has announced, what Arista has announced, Cisco hasn't even announced yet. This is the state-of-the-art Wi-Fi 6E AP. Why do we say that? Just because we said so? No. This is because, first, this is the AP that belongs in this end-to-end AI picture. So very uniquely, Marvis AI-driven access point, number one. Number two, it has a 4x4 radio in 5 gig, 4x4 radio in 2.4, 4x4 radio in 6 gig, an additional scanning radio, Bluetooth antenna array. This is state-of-the-art in Wi-Fi access points. Now, the other major announcement we made recently is around IoT. We just launched a new service called IoT Assurance, and this is to tame the explosive growth in IoT. If you're in healthcare, if you're in retail, if you're in education, if you're in the corporate enterprise, or manufacturing, you know that the number of IoT devices is exploding every single day. How do you manage that? How do you wrap your arms around an explosive IoT growth like this? You need IoT assurance from Juniper Networks. And that's what this is easy to onboard, easy to police and segment the traffic, easy to steer the traffic to exactly where you need to go, securely steer that traffic, and then last but not least, use the Mist Cloud to really manage the large scale pre-shared keys that you have to put on these IoT devices. This is the industry's first assurance service for IoT, an absolutely good one. Now, let me go into a couple of customer examples. This Harry Potter-like looking building, this is University of Reading. University of Reading, absolutely phenomenal, pervasive campus-wide deployment is undertaken now in amazing experiences for not just the Wi-Fi experience at a University of Reading, but also a rich digitized user experience on campus. This is what we're shooting for and driving student engagement and success. The next example I want to give you is Northeast Georgia Health. This is a large healthcare system in the eastern corridor of the US, major customer for Juniper because they're an end-to-end customer. They have switching, they have Wi-Fi. There's a lot of portfolio that Juniper sells that Northeast Georgia Health uses. But the key fundamental outcome we drove for them, because the Mist Cloud is so atomic in operations, they can actually upgrade a single AP, transition a single AP from their Aruba network to the Juniper network. They are able to actually execute IT operations during the daytime, unlike when they had to call outages with a controller-based architecture. And the rest of the team is going to talk to you about how do you migrate from legacy controller-based architectures to a modern microservice-driven cloud architecture. Northeast Georgia Health is executing that transition coming from Aruba, and University of Reading coming from Cisco. You're going to see the how of this in a few sessions coming up. Now, let me take you to the final pivot point, the final thing. If you hear nothing else from Juniper on this session today, I want you to take away that these are 5 things that we at Juniper are so proud that we will deliver. What is the outcomes AI will deliver for you? It is these 5 outcomes. Number 1, this will be the fastest deployment you have ever done, the Juniper Mist deployment. And you can ask this of any customer worldwide, not the ones we mentioned in this session, not the ones that are case studies on our website. Call up any Juniper Mist customer worldwide and ask them, have you had these outcomes for you? The answer will be yes. Number 1, we will say, hey, is this the fastest deployment that you have ever had? Absolutely yes. One of the retailers that we've deployed with, They estimated about 18 months to do a 12,000 AP replacement across their Cisco infrastructure coming to Juniper Mist, and they finished that in 4 months. We actually have another large installation. We do 2 to 3,000 access points per night. So this is the fastest deployment you will get in an AI-driven system in the networking industry, number one. Number two, this will be the fewest tickets. So why do we say that Juniper Mist is going to drive the fewest tickets on your network, on your campus network? Here's why. Because we have Marvis. Marvis actually is constantly looking at the network, is constantly evaluating the network performance, and if it can, and if it should, if there is an issue, it is able to remediate automatically. Self-driving networks result in fewer tickets, and that's what we have. We are a self-driving network. Number three, when you have an issue, when you have a complaint from an end user, when you have a complaint from a customer, for an employee on, hey, the network isn't working for me, you will have the fastest mean time to resolution than you've ever had in your experience with networks. This is a game-changing technology. AI is at work for you to resolve tickets fast. One of the largest deployments we're doing is being deployed in 130 countries. 130 country deployment we're doing, and that customer said we've cut their mean time to resolution by 96%, meaning previously on average a ticket would take about 48 hours to close. With Juniper Mist, 2 hours average ticket close time, from 48 hours to 2 hours, right? Then the fourth outcome AI in action is going to deliver for you, you're going to see lots of examples of that today, is this will be the simplest operations, whether that is managing the image upgrades, managing the network expansion, life cycling the network, managing the devices. This will be the absolute simplest operations. No controller-based system can even come close. Just to give you an example, MIT, one of the world's premier institutions, 10,000 access point deployment. If we need to upgrade their data plane, terminator, we call it the Mist Edge. If we need to upgrade that, it takes 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Compare that to what you have to do to upgrade your controller network, how long it takes. Fundamentally different architecture. Last but not least, we are the only network that has a completely integrated Bluetooth antenna array, a 16 antenna element array built into every single access point, and we can deliver digitized outcomes for healthcare workers, for patients in a hospital, for passengers in an airport, for consumers in a retail store. The digitized outcomes we can deliver are better than anyone else in the industry. This is what AI should do for you. AI should be in action for you, and these are the outcomes you should expect. Thank you very much for joining our AI in Action Summit and session. We appreciate your partnership. We look forward to partnering with you as you build your network of the next decade. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sudhir. Thank you so much, and taking the time and effort from California to do at this time of the day, making yourself available for us. So let's have the proof to the pudding, because in Mist we are a firm believer, even though we're going to have a lot of presentations today, but I'm going to focus the next 25 minutes only on demo and show you or give you at least a teaser on what we do so much different in the industry. As Sudhir said, how is it possible that we actually can get 2,000 devices up and running per night? Yeah, that is not an easy thing to do. Well, with Mist, yes, we can do this. Upgrading large networks, 30,000 APs, we can upgrade them in a couple of hours, where IT manager says, wow, let's do this again. On digitization, a couple of weeks ago, I had a meeting with a customer where they were really enforcing in the RFP that we were going to integrate with DNA spaces. And I constantly asked them, I said, why? Why do you want to have this done? And he said, because we asked this and we need to have this, and everything runs around DNA spaces. And then I asked the customer to go into a call, and I asked him again, why is it that you need this? And this person said, hey, I really want to see how you get the information from the APs, putting all these XY coordinates into a central controller that then processes everything and then give the XY coordinates of each client, send it to DNA spaces, that through DNA spaces we then can do the next action item that has to happen, or the next event that has to happen based on this. And I shut up. And please reach out to me, or whoever is on, or Gaby, or whoever's on our team, reach out to us, because I'm very happy to do the demo. This is what I did for this customer. I have this IoT gateway that is built in. I put my phone on one side of my desk. I turn on lights. I turn on Wi-Fi. I turn on APs. Yeah, because APs don't have to be woken up when you don't need them. Yeah, so we can save a lot of energy right there. And then I took my phone and I just put it to the other side of my desk, and everything was turned off again because I was supposed to be outside. So this was done in just a couple of seconds, and it was with an accuracy of a meter. The guy was amazed. He said, how did you do this? Because that's what I need. I said, that's what you need, but you're not going to get if we integrate with DNA spaces. So his smile really, or his face really lit up. We explained this, and we're going to do this in the demo. So everything, as Gaby said in the beginning, everything we do is API. Yeah, we have a very rich API structure. We have a very rich, and this is accessible from the portal. So you can browse on this. Let me just go to the next thing here. Yeah, this can be accessible when you log into a portal, and if you go to manage.eu.mist.com, you can create your own portal. You don't have to have our devices. It's available for you. Try it out, try the look and feel, and here you can get all the feature updates, firmware updates that we have, and even your API documentation. But where I want to start is, really plug and play API automation, let machines program machines to really limit the amount of errors, the amount of trouble that you have. And everything we do is coming from a complete organization where we have different configuration templates, different switch templates, all is there where it starts. Yeah, we can have RF templates, device profiles, where no matter where you plug something in, the configuration will follow the site configuration, or the device will follow the configuration that is actually on that site. Yeah, once this is done, things are going to start up, things are going to be logging to our system. All the 150 states we were talking about, they will go into the system. And here is a large customer. I blurred it out, but this is a large customer network that we're going to see. And the thing is, if you come to your office in the morning, what do? Yeah, wait for support tickets, wait for support calls coming in and so on. No, what we are asking for you to do is grab a coffee, go to Marvis, and then click on your Marvis Actions. Here in Marvis Actions, we will give you immediately an overview of all the things you need to do to keep your network running. How cool is this? Because from here out, I can actually go and see I have a couple of bad cables. This network is a network with over 10,000 devices, over 10,000 network devices, and out of all these 10,000 network devices, all these switch ports and everything, we say, hey, there is a bad cable, and we actually tell you where you have a bad cable, on what port, on what switch. How cool is this? Same thing on APs. I see APs are offline. I see APs are non-compliant, but I also show if it is happening, where are coverage holes, where are capacity issues. We show that. And the same thing for switches. We really can show you layer 1 on the APs, but here 25 bad cables wherever in our network. It could be a printer, it could be a camera, it could be so many other devices. Port negotiation mismatches, port flaps that are happening. All these things we give you in one single pane of glass, and that's amazing. And even if you say, hey, I fixed this issue, fine, our AI engine will show it to you, hey, this issue has been fixed, it's occurring again, have it double checked because something is not right. That is our Marvis Actions. And the same thing for Marvis Actions, it is also so easy. Oops, that is not what's supposed to be happening. It is actually so easy with Marvis Actions to even go into the system and ask who is not really having a good time in the network. So here, what now Marvis Action is doing on the site live demo, it's actually showing on us who is having a bad experience. I see the device Hall, I see the device Rosie is not really very happy, and then I can click from here and get into the service levels, get into the insights troubleshooting. This is like your support coworker that you can connect to and ask the system, ask Marvis, hey, what's happening here, here, or here, and it will give you proactively feedback. Now, the 150 states, Marvis is using them to help you, but what is also important here is to give you how is the network doing? How is the network doing in terms of wireless, in terms of wired performance, in terms of WAN performance? We will give you all these insights in terms of location and just insights on an individual device or an individual user, and so on and so on. So, but for wireless is a very, very complex medium. And it's easy to blame because nobody can see if the connection is good or bad. You cannot touch it. So it is very challenging to support this. And that is where we really give you also a lot of help. For example, here, with 150 states that we bring in every 2 seconds, we're going to calculate the time to connect, successful connects, the coverage, how it's doing, the roaming, how it's doing. And this is all based on what are you expecting from the network? What is it that the network need to be doing for you? Because a lot of systems, they work on baselines, and here it is all about what is it that you want? Because a baseline is always fluctuating. Monday is not the same as Wednesday or as Friday, and the system needs to be compliant with what you want, not the other way around. So we're going to ask you, what are you expecting for time to connect? Successful connects, doesn't matter, coverage, whole, and so on and so on. So that is what we're expecting you to do, set this up, and then we're going to measure. And what you see here is also what a lot of our competitors do. They just show some percentages. And that's easy. However, what is not so easy is if we go drill down a little bit deeper on time to connect, we can see the time to connect. For us, a time to connect is not only connecting to an AP, it's also about associating to the AP, authenticating to the AP, making sure you get DHCP and internet services. That all together is the time to connect. So what we see here is the success rate. So we have here around 3.3 seconds on average to connect to your applications. The timeline, we can see where, during what time we had some challenges. We can see the distribution, where the access points, the wireless LANs, what applications and so on are having a problem. And we also can tell you what are the affected items. Because what we see here is that 91% of the time, people can connect good, but the 9% it cannot connect. And then the reason why is this? Is this because of association and so on? In this case, it's 100% association. So when we're going to look into here, we see that there are a couple of devices that are adding up to the 100% that we see here. And the worst one we have is the Mist Mini and Denali. It seemed also not bad, but the impact is really our Mist Mini. So when we then click on that Mist Mini, the system will proactively give you some feedback. Hey, you know what? Time to connect was an issue because it was slow association because of a client specific issue. Throughput, limited RF capacity. So we had a capacity issue, and the capacity problem was because we have Wi-Fi interference. Hell, this is our office in Cupertino. There's a lot of engineering and development going on. Of course, we have a lot of Wi-Fi interference. Now, this is all great, but if it is a client-specific issue and you need to call the vendor, then what the vendor will say is, give me the log files, give me the traces. So how are you going to do this? Well, also there, Mist is to the rescue, where you can see here on Insights, we show you where things have been going wrong. Yeah, we see it here. We had a total of 480 events, some good, some neutral, but it's the bad events that I'm interested in. And I can see I have DHCP issue and I have authorization issues. So if you look into the DHCP issue, I can see here it is a server, sorry, I can see what server is responding. Yeah, a lot of our competitors, they say, hey, there is a DHCP issue. But what DHCP server? Wasn't there a DHCP server? What's the latency? All that rich information we put here all together in one package. And as you can see, there is a little paperclip here. With that paperclip, I can start with Cloud Shark. I can now also start to analyze that packet. And we, because of the 150 states we take, we really capture everything you need at that point in time to send to that manufacturer to troubleshoot your potential issues that you might have. Yeah. So that is really forward thinking that we're doing there. All right. Then the other thing what Sudhir was talking about is the IoT assurance, our public cloud key that we built in. So for the public cloud key, when we look into this, what is the biggest issue with IoT devices? What's another big issue with BYOD devices? If you have a large campus or it doesn't even have to be that big, but maintaining a PKI infrastructure is not always easy, and it's definitely not cheap. So we want to get really there a scalable solution. And what's making the solution scalable? Because if you have PSKs, there are a lot of devices that or APs that are not having enough memory to get thousands and thousands of different PSKs running in the network or keeping it into their memory. So what have we done is we have a cloud PSK infrastructure where we make this really simple and easy to manage. There is a portal where you can log in, create your own keys or predefined keys. And what do we do with these keys? If we just add here a specific key, you can give it a name. The name could be BYOD, could be camera, could be a group of people, could be in a store that you have a store manager, you name it. And then you can say, hey, this key, it belongs to an ESS ID, yeah? And we can assign, together with that key, we can assign a specific VLAN if that's what you like. You give it a passphrase, and you can also give it a duration. Yeah, and the duration is also pretty interesting because if you have IoT devices and you just have one PSK for all your IoT devices, what do you do when somebody is leaving or somebody leaked that PSK key? That is not ideal. And if you have to then update them all together, that is not an easy thing to do. So what we want to achieve here is that even with an expiration date and so on, that we make this manageable for you, that we make it per unique per device, or also that multiple devices or multiple users can use this. And we can also give it a specific role. That specific role is there as well, that we need to get this, that we need to assign specific network policies to a specific key, and that is all manageable through this page. And then we will also tell you what roles, what ESS IDs, and what keys will be expiring in a specific moment. So we give you that full visibility into that network. Another thing that I wanted to show you is where we, that's not what I wanted to do, just a moment. Wanted to go here, is what we do on gateways. Yeah, so we will show in a moment our SSR, our Session Smart Routing. Our friend Jonathan will talk about it, but I want to show you here how we are already integrating all these elements into our network. And we have here a SSR, or some people will know it as a 128T router or SD-WAN solution. We can see what paths are up or down, and what applications are running. But what is even more important is what we're going to show here on the bottom, is we can see what are the worst peer paths from this specific router into the network. And we can measure this on latency, loss, mean opinion score, and jitter. and even individual peer paths where you want to say, hey, what's happening here, what's happening here, we give you that full visibility. And then last thing, to close the complete loop on this, I wanted to share with you some new technology that we're building in. Is called EVPN VXLAN. Now, EVPN VXLAN, this is a technology that is fixing a lot of problems into the network. There's a lot of challenges for the network where, if you have layer 2 devices trying to connect to a layer 3 network, that is not always easy to do. A lot of proprietary technologies that are there to eliminate spanning trees. It's not always flexible. It's not always scalable. It's not directly designed for mobility and IoT. And why is this? Because, if you have a larger amount of people using a network, a larger amount could be 500 people, a school with a couple of thousand students, you have to have different segments in the network. You have to have different firewall rules, and it's very hard to maintain. So therefore, that is not always that easy to maintain. So with EVPN VXLAN, that is where we want to fix the layer 2 overlay network over layer 3. It is a complete standard-based technology. It is flexible and scalable. It is fast conversion and microsegmentation for mobility and IoT. And we can really, instead of maintaining all the ACLs into your network, we are going to manage all these services and quality of services and policies through group-based policies where we can integrate with whatever NAC controller there is in the industry. So that is really where we go. And then I just lastly want to demo this to you, how we integrate this in a very simple and flexible way, because EVPN VXLAN has a couple of approaches to it. For example, here where we can see it could be multi-homing, where you want to have a collapsed core with ESLAC to maintain this, or you want to have a campus fabric core distribution where your core and distribution is collapsed together, and also a complete IP cloth fabric where everything is end-to-end integrated. And this is done, you just select which platform you would like to use. From here, you select your nodes, you select your network settings, your ports, and then confirm. And once this is all done, I think I have here a little setup where we can show you, you see where you have your collapsed core, 2 EX4400s, where on an access layer we have a 2300 layer 2 switch, where you can just see this layer 2 switch is with 2 legs to the collapsed core, and then we can port a layer 2 network over layer 3 network without very simple to do. That is so far on our demo. So, time for somebody else to speak, I guess. Or Gabe, anything I forgot, maybe?
We just got a question from the audience. Perhaps we could just take that quickly on when the PSK feature for IoT devices will be available.
The PSK feature for IoT devices, if you would like to test it right now, we can bring you into the test program, but that in one of the next weeks, this will be pushed and will be general available. So for further details, I would say reach out to us after the call or to your local team where you are in the country. All right, we need to really move on to the next topic. Or anything else, maybe, Gabe?
No, that's fine. Let's
All right, cool. So next on our agenda, we have one of the universities. We spoke about a lot of universities, but I think on purpose we did not put this university on our logos. It's Derby College, and it says Derby, but I think we all say Derby. I don't know why, but that's probably because I'm not a native English speaker. But Derby College, that is one of our wired assurance customers. I think also they moved to our wireless products as well. But let's maybe play an introduction video on what is the university, and then let's get into an interview with Talan, who is the IT administrator on that company. Wow, we just saw the future, I think, because all these young adults, that's actually our future. If all is well, Talan should be on our call. Talan, can you hear us?
Hi, Jan. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, Talan, good to see you, man. I think,
you.
yeah, I think I missed our introduction call a while ago. I think you did this with my colleague Gaby. However,
Hi,
I know more about you than you think from my dearest colleague Neil Goddard.
Oh, God.
Yes, for sure, God art. So, Talan, well, first and for all, thank you very much for attending us here in this small interview. I'm pretty sure over a beer we could spend a whole night talking about stuff and things that we do. And also, thank you very much for your business. It's great to see that it has been very beneficial for you because if I'm not mistaken, but before we go there, maybe some words about yourself. What do you do, and about Derby College?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the senior engineer in the infrastructure department here at the college. We support sort of 20-odd thousand students, there or thereabouts, and 1,200 staff. My job role is strictly technical more often than not. However, I do sort of architecture. I get involved in the decision-making process particularly when it comes to the network, because that's sort of my bread and butter. So that's sort of me in a nutshell. But I seem to get involved in everything, to be honest.
Well, everything is running in the network. There is not one thing that is not connected to the network. Even the coffee machines here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, wonderful. Talan, 20,000 students. And 1,200
there or thereabouts.
Wow. Is it an understatement to say that the network is very important to your organization?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's mission critical. We provide education to all of our students. So as a result, almost everything that they need to do now is online in some way, shape, or form. And as a result, the network is mission critical. We provide, I think it's somewhere in the region of about 3,500 laptops and sort of 4,000 desktops across the infrastructure. And then we have a bunch of students that connect in remotely using sort of lone laptops on top of that. So we've got quite a lot of kit out in the wild. Doing whatever we can to make sure the network is as operational as it needs to be is beneficial to us and saves me a lot of headaches.
Yeah, amazing. So if I'm not mistaken, Derby College was already an EX switch, a Juniper EX switch customer, right? Before even it was managed by
The other way
Nest.
round.
Oh, it was the other way around. Okay.
Yeah, we started working with Simon when he used to work for a competitor of yours, and we analysed their solution, and we also analysed your solution, and we really liked the direction that Mist was going. So as a result of that sort of ambition of where we wanted to be moving forward, it was decided that we were going to go down the Mist route. It was just how we went down that route. So that was kind of where it started, and then from there we've brought in the wired assurance on top of that, which has been a godsend, to be honest, in terms of operational for us.
Yeah, could you? Yeah, thanks, Jan. Could you elaborate a bit on that? What the AI? Because this is where the crowd here watching us and listening to us are really curious about. You know, what has AI brought to you and your organization? Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, first and foremost, it was a sort of deployment stage which really helped us out. So over the last sort of 2 years, we've gone through a pretty big redundancy program. We've lost just over 50% of our infrastructure department. So as it currently stands, there is me doing the network. So I mean, it's a relatively big network. We've got about 130, 140 switches across about a 20 square mile radius. So from that perspective, the deployment in the olden days would have probably taken me the entirety of the summer, so sort of 6 weeks. With this, I pre-deployed in 2 days and did the actual physical installation on my own in 9 days.
Wow.
So pretty big difference. Then when it actually comes to sort of analysis, we don't actually use Marvis, so we don't use your natural language processor, but we do use obviously the AI side of things in terms of missing VLAN identifications, which has been a godsend when it came to sort of port profiling. It automatically worked that out for us, and it made the necessary changes to the Juniper switches to be able to bring our IPs online instantly, which was a very big game changer.
Talent, that's actually really great that you're referring to that, because you are actually using our first sub of software, right? Which is including all these AI capabilities. But we are often being compared, with regular Wi-Fi vendors or networking vendors, which in my view is completely incomparable, right? Because you have been just stating the point that you have been deploying in 9 days instead of 6 weeks. That's quite an intriguing figure, right? And the same thing about troubleshooting. Could you tell something around that, on how you manage your network?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the key areas that we really struggled with previously was our wireless. So when we went down the Mist route, we get all of the sort of in-depth analysis directly through your AI platform, which is fantastic. But the big thing for us is when we get the usual, it's the network, in inverted commas, it's the network that's always at fault. And you're like, okay, well, how do you know that? What proof have you got? And now actually we can just turn around and go, we know it's not, because we've got the evidence from the edge, at the very edge of the network to your device. And we can see that, the relevant information, RSSI and signal to noise ratio. And then on top of that, if there is a problem, we get all the PCAPs. And I mean, I'm a massive lover of Wireshark. I spend quite a lot of time with it. So to actually be able to deep dive into the actual individual packets is fantastic. So, if we get a problem, we can analyze it. But then more often than not, we turn around and go, well, actually, we can see that there's not a problem on the network. So what actually is the problem? So instantly, we're going back to the desktop support team and saying, well, actually, can you look at the laptop? Because from what we're seeing, over the air, it looks fantastic. So really, there must be something else going on. And in terms of what we've done, we've just been able to not necessarily hand it off, but be able to provide them with the guidance that they needed. Because previously it was just, I don't know, so I'll pass it off to infrastructure, and I'll pass it off to TAL or whoever it might be, and go, oh yeah, guys, this is now your problem, and then there'll be this back and forth battle. Whereas now it's completely seamless. We can go, here's the relevant evidence.
And Jan, that's actually exactly about what we mean with Mist is putting the light on, right?
Yeah,
So
it's turning the light on. But Talon, I just want to step a little bit back because we're already going into the weeds, but we are talking here about secure migration, right? And for you, you just mentioned it. You had another vendor, you compared this with other vendors, and you said, hey, I did it instead of 6 weeks, I did it in a couple of days. So what was really making that speed for you? Please.
So from my it's the platform, the manageability of it. So obviously previously I'll be open, we were a Cisco house, and we were using pretty old kit. So the idea of deploying kit would take a little bit longer because you'd have to deploy all of your organization configuration to every single individual switch, whether you do that manually or through some form of SFTP or however. Whereas now what we do is we deploy it once on the cloud for the organization, we deploy it once per campus, and then we deploy it once per switch. And that deployment took me in total to redesign our entire network a day.
Yeah.
On the platform, and then I didn't actually use your zero touch provisioning platform. To be fair, I did a pre-deployment setup.
How was that experience?
To be honest, really straightforward in the end. The only thing we had to do was copy and paste nine commands into the switch and plug it into the management port, make sure I had internet connectivity, and it downloaded. We were even able to do in place upgrades while we were in pre-deployment stage. If it wasn't, I didn't do it if it was a virtual chassis, but where it was, where it wasn't, I was able to do that there and then. Yeah. And then once everything came online in the evening, I just said, please upgrade the software to this recommended the recommended missed one at 2 a.m. And it just
amazing.
It.
Amazing.
That's really amazing, right?
Very different.
And Talon, some other question. When you were about this designing for Juniper Mist, right? Moving forward, that has raised undoubtedly a lot of questions internally. Of moving the good old Cisco, from the good old Cisco into Juniper Mist. Could you tell a bit about how that went and how you went through that yourself personally, but also with the team?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I'm Cisco sort of born and bred. I've grown up with Cisco from the age of sort of 14. I've been really heavily involved with them. So initially, I'm always very skeptical about moving away from Cisco because that's what I know. It's dead easy, to me. Whereas, Juniper was a complete game changer. But then the driver behind it was the Mist platform. If you go down the wired assurance route, you don't need to know different. You need to know elements of protocols and basic understandings, but you don't need to know the ins and outs of it. If you want to turn on dynamic ARP inspection, for example, it's a checkbox. It's as simple as that. So there's none of this ins and outs and understanding of it. Obviously, you need to understand it from an operational perspective, so you can understand what's going on under the hood. But you don't need to understand. You need these 5 different commands or whatever to be able to get your head around it. So that was a big sort of tick box for us because a lot of people that we interview are they are Cisco people typically. There's a lot more in my mind Cisco certified engineers out there than perhaps maybe yourselves or Brocade or Dell or whoever. And as a result, it's like, well, I've always had that ethos in my mind. Well, if we don't go with Cisco, how are they going to cope with this migration? A lot of people then say to me, well, surely, you want to make sure you're employing the right people. But when you're in education, you perhaps maybe don't pay as well or whatever it might be. There's always that question mark over it. Whereas for us now, we can go, yeah, you might not know it, but to be honest, it's a web interface. If you can't get your head around it, there's something wrong.
Yeah, this is amazing, Talon. Sorry to interrupt you, but we are in a very tight schedule, and these 10 minutes just fly away. Yeah. But I really would like to have a little bit longer chat with you on a beer or whatever. But if there is one last thing maybe you want to give to the audience here, what would that be?
Just try it. Get it in a proof of concept, see how it works. That's exactly what we did. We have had an events company before COVID, and we did a proof of concept with your Wi-Fi assurance. in the beer festival in the middle of our Roundhouse campus.
Nice. Why was I not involved?
You'll have to speak to Simon or Neil on that one. That's not me.
They were surely
there,
involved.
but that's not me. That's
He
not
was
on me.
greedy. He want to have all the beers for him.
That's it. But we did the proof of concept there, and we showed how powerful the product was. As an overall proof of concept with Marvis and everything else. But even though we don't have it, that was sort of the biggest selling point for us. We saw it in action. We saw how good it could be.
Yeah.
And as I say, we saw the vision. We saw where you guys were going, which was the big difference.
Yeah, Gartner saw it too. And by the way, thank you. If you also applied to the Gartner poll, I have no idea who all applied, but if you were one of those.
Possibly. Simon's asked me to do so much stuff, I've lost track.
All right. Hey,
Thank you.
Talon, thank you so much. Thank you for your confidence in us. And let's really meet up soon to show you all the stuff we're working on. That leads us.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you so much. So the next video we're going to run is really about that leap of faith, because our friend Talon here, he took a leap of faith. He took trust and faith in us. It was a die-hard Cisco person, and going from Cisco CLI to Juno CLI and so on is not easy, but through Mist, we make this seriously easy. He took that leap of faith. Next video we're going to show, it takes a big heart that this person is going to do. So please, if we could start that video, that would be amazing. Wow. Oh my God. My heart is still pumping. Not only that, there was Juniper all over the canopy, but wow, that really takes some guts to make that jump. And I'm pretty sure some folks on the call here are saying, man, that's what I would experience if we do the migration. Gaby, you have the honor to introduce your best friend, Ruben. So if all is well, we have Ruben on the call. Gaby.
Yeah, sure. So, Ruben, I think you're on. If not, let's wait a bit. There he is.
There is the
How
hero.
How are you, sir? How are you doing?
Hi, guys. Doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Great to see you guys.
Yeah, I'm really stoked to see you flying through the air, with the Juniper Mist AI in action brand on top of that, and you have it in the back of your place where you are right now. And for people who are not well known to the kite surfing sport, Ruben, if I may introduce you, you are a true legend in the kitesurfing sport for a couple of reasons. One of this is that Ruben is competing in the global highest rankings when it comes to the big air discipline in kitesurfing, which is all about jumping high and far and to be most controlled and so on. But also for the fact that Ruben has really gone out of his comfort zone in competing in this sport with bringing in a new technique called Mega Loop, which brought him actually higher in jumping, and also with doing the loop, as you just saw, landing further down in his jump, and on the ocean, which is really spectacular. So with that, Ruben, could you tell a bit about yourself and how you got into that innovation part? Because that's exactly what Juniper Mist AI is also doing.
Yeah, Gaby, thanks for that intro. Well, I love kite surfing, and that session with the Juniper kite definitely felt better than it looked. And I can't wait to go out again. I'm in Cape Town at the moment, so the wind is pumping, and I'm looking forward to push the limits this afternoon. But yeah, I've been kite surfing for over 20 years, since I was 12 years old. And I think just innovating just comes from dreaming, just having this dream, having this vision, and going for it. And I also think we all inspire each other to innovate, to grow. We're all learning from each other. So I've obviously been watching somebody kite surf back when I was 12 years old and on the beach, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And then I just worked my way into that. And actually it was because my parents got divorced and they promised us a present, and I chose a kiteboarding set. So that's how I got into the sport and started evolving from there.
Yeah, that's really awesome, right? And then when you started competing, right? I'm a very small, enthusiastic kiter myself, and I've had that rush actually for a couple of times, of jumping high to start with, which I think is already scaring enough to go out of your comfort zone and to start, to step into that journey, to go out there and to learn it, and then you feel very uncomfortable with managing the kite, and then you start to do your first jumps, and then you're just flying through the air. But then you competing actually in that big kiting events and doing that kind of a mega loop, right? If you go up in the air and then just take it to the next boundary, which I'm personally just having still a lot of problems with. But could you actually tell a bit about how did you come up with that, and what did it bring you, and why did you do it to start with?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, every jump is unique, so every jump can give you new adrenaline. And yeah, I think it's just building out your comfort zone. How I invented the Mega Loop was basically like they were already doing kite loops, which means that you just steer the kite a circle through the wind, and that produces the most power out of the kite. And I was just visioning that, just taking it higher. And then I managed in 2003 in a competition to do a jump, and then I tried to pull my kite around, but the kite was not made for it, and the kite would hit the water before me, so it always ended up in a big wipeout. And then I just kept practicing. I was like, if I pull harder, but I put my hand to the outside of the bar and just crank this kite a little faster, then I can make it around. And sure enough, I just jumped high enough, got the kite all the way around. And then we just started building on that, making better gear for it. So the equipment really helped me to jump higher, to make the loop better. And yeah, that's how I invented the Mega Loop. And I've been doing that for the past 15 years now. And it's just been giving me the biggest adrenaline rush. And it's the most extreme move in the kite sport, actually, because you just jump as high as you can. Then you pull the kite a full circle through the wind, and this just creates a huge horizontal yank. And then the kite will come up and it catches you again, and then you just come in for a full speed landing. Wow. And everybody is addicted to it now on the water. It's like the main scoring trick.
That's the whole point, right? Because you have introduced that, I think, at one of the King of the Airs, like one of the big World Cup events for high jumping. And you introduced this, and now the whole world is actually using that. And that's what we see at Juniper Mist as well. We have customers who have tried our technology. They really needed to get out of their comfort zone to make that decision and to move on. And they tried it out, and that's where this event is about, right? You need to just try it, and then you will see what it will bring you, and it will bring you. And 9 out of 10 times it brings you a lot, right? So, and on the innovation part, Ruben, how do you move forward? How do you see the sport evolving, and how do you do that yourself from an innovation part? Can you say something around that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, innovation, we're always working with change. The gear is changing, it's becoming better. There's new materials coming out, so the kite reacts better. We can jump higher. That's how we have more airtime. We get more space in our mind to see what is possible. So we get more comfortable to try new things, to add another rotation, to add in a grab. And that's how you kind of just build on those things. And I think it's also a big thing of riding with the right people, training with the right people. Because we all love pushing the boundaries, and once you ride together, then you always want to go bigger than the other person. So I think that's a big factor that plays there as well. And just all the pieces of the puzzle just need to fall in place in order to progress confidently. Definitely.
Hey Ruben, just a quick question from my side. I appreciate you took the Juniper board and all these things, but I'm pretty sure you went on the internet or so to see what the hell is missed. So could you give, in a couple of words, how you see what you learned from our product?
Seamless connections.
There you go. Wow, it's easy.
No, they definitely ran me through the whole Mist system, and I was blown away just by the amount of use cases you can apply this for. Like you can use it in hospitals, in businesses, especially now in Corona time, seeing where all the people are in the building. It's magic, so I really am blown away by it.
How network savvy are you?
I'm pretty connected.
But where I want to go to.
May I answer that, Ruben? You're a legend in kite surfing, but you're not typically an IT guy, right? But if you can explain it this simple and this well, that's where it's all about, right? We are advocating self-driving networks, and everything goes fluently. But what I also liked, by the way, is the point you made about you're a top sport or so. But it's like in every top sport, you have a team behind you as well, right? To compete and to work as a team, and we see our technology as one of that supporting elements around that team for IT teams in general, right? So, hey, just last question from my end. Perhaps Jan, you have one left, but how do you suggest for the audience here to get kickstarted on kite surfing? What should they do?
Well, I always like to compare it to getting your driver's license. You definitely need a few lessons and invest a little bit of money in your first setup. But then you have freedom for life. Like who can live without their car nowadays, So the youngest kite surfer is 3 years old. The oldest is over 80. So there are really no excuses. The shark, if you get eaten by a shark, it will be a very unique story. So don't be afraid of that.
That's true.
And just believe in your vision of seeing yourself kite. And it's a bit of a process and a journey, and just never give up. And then it's going to improve all 8 areas of life for you and just bring a lot of health and community to you and a lot of travel and adventure. So, do it.
Sure.
Take time out.
Love it, man.
I'm in the wrong profession. I should get out of networking and go to South Africa.
Exactly. Conferences on the beach. Let's do it.
Ruben.
So Ruben, just one last thing. I always ask this. What would you share as a last thing to the audience?
Focus on the things you can control, and don't forget to love life and love as hard as you can and as much as you can.
Those are beautiful words. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you, Ruben. Appreciate it.
All right.
Hey, good luck with the
How do you guys do it?
Air.
Like this? Yay!
Yeah, right on.
Hang loose, guys.
Yeah,
all right.
loose.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
We're going to stay in South Africa. But before I go, wow, that was really, truly amazing.
It was, right?
Still get me goosebumps.
Wow.
Beautiful. We're going to stay in South Africa. And if all is well, we will soon have Marissa on the call. She's the CEO of CMC. But before we go there, we're going to play a video on what is CMC, that everybody has a grasp on it. CMC is actually, as a lead-in, is a service provider. It's a satellite networking for South Africa and even not South Africa, whole Africa and even beyond. And they're operating a lot of our infrastructure or a lot of our devices as well. So without further ado, let's play the video of CMC. Wow, that is a huge network and a huge responsibility. Marissa, are you on a call?
I am indeed. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hoe gaat het?
Heel goed. Baie dankie. I am sitting in Johannesburg and we have a tremendous storm going outside. So I'm just hoping everything stays up.
Oh my God, that is not good. But
Wow.
I'm pretty sure you run over the CMC network with a very solid connection. So that is good. Is there no way we can turn on the video, Marissa?
I am going to try that from my end. How does that work? Good?
You're on.
Oh, there you are. Hey!
Hey. All right.
Nice to see you both again.
Great to see you, Marissa. And it's great to go from Cape Town into Johannesburg, right? South Africa. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, cool. So, Marissa, first and foremost, thank you very much for your business and thank you very much for joining our call here. I know you've been very busy. Last time we spoke, you were rushing from the airport to your office or your home to have our call. What does it take to, or how does it feel to be a CEO of such an amazing company?
Extremely proud, extremely proud. I mean, we've done something out here that nobody else has done. We've got a network that is so robust and so extensive, and it covers the footprint of Africa, which is huge, right? And me being partly South African, I was born here, and then I left for Europe when I was a lot younger. But so I'm extremely proud, very proud of the team, and it's been a fantastic partnership with all of you, of course.
That's amazing, and I'm very glad to hear that. So Marissa, what made you look into a technology like 128T? Can you share something about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, look, we reached out to 128T back in 2016, 2017. Africa is a very particular, it's a continent, right? And it's a challenging terrain. So the scale of Africa is huge. I mean, if you take Europe, you can take China, you can take India, you can take the US, it all fits into Africa. Yeah. So when you've got these very, very long WAN links, right? So Africa is unique. And we were looking for a unique partner. And we came across Juniper 128T, and that was a unique partner. And you had the technology and the feistiness and the vision, exactly what we needed. So, and just with your technology, which helped us tremendously to address the solution, because you do not use any overlays or tunnels, right, compared to any other vendors. And with that, we could save 30 to 40% of our bandwidth, which was fantastic. And it resolved the issue for fantastic performance across Africa with all our links. And it also positioned us today as the first African provider to have AI in our network. So you've helped us a very long way.
And that's great. And could you tell a bit about what you deliver as kind of services to your customers, and what that means for your customers going forward? In their customer experience. Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we connect up multinationals, service providers, non-profit organizations, governments, you name it. We scale right across Africa and the Middle East. We're focusing on Africa, but we also do the Middle East. And we help them service their services, maybe MPLS, Ethernet, Internet, and we ensure that it's a seamless solution for them. Our core is SDN enabled with Juniper 128T, of course. And now with this evolution here with AI and with Mist, we've got many, many benefits, right? We can drive this proactivity towards the customers by pointing out issues that are on the network that might have happened or that we can even detect that might be coming. And it's helping on our SLA visibility towards our customers, which is something, it's definitely ahead of the curve.
Yeah, that's great that you mentioned that, because I think that that client to cloud vision, which Juniper Mist and 128 is giving to the market, is, I think, not only for specified bandwidth issues, but it's just to ensure all the SLAs you are agreeing with your customers, right, on how they experience the network, and it all needs to be seamless and without any issues moving forward, right? Independently of what kind of connection is available at the location customers are at. So that's really great to hear. And something about the AI, Jan. Are you? What do you think about that?
Yeah. So you mentioned 40 to 50% reduction in bandwidth. I think 40 to 50% reduction in cost there as well, and also freeing up bandwidth. But the AI, so how crucial, I think you touched upon it a little bit, but how crucial is it that your team or your support teams get an extra pair of hands virtually somewhere in the cloud to help you? Because I can imagine, Africa is as you said, a huge continent. Is it realistic to say that the AI engine really helps you to stretch the arms to those different locations?
Absolutely, it does. And we already deployed the Juniper 128T session smart routing. Now we enhance that with AI visibility, right? So it further simplified this troubleshooting and streamlining the help desk. I mean, that's with the self-driving actions that automatically remediated issues. So we've got this network, and it self-learns, self-heals. So you can almost compare it to Waze, like when you're in the car with the traffic in there, and your network then, the Waze tells you don't take that route, take that route. It's the path that's going to get you the quickest there. That's what the network does for us now, with what we have developed with you.
Yeah. This is really great to hear. Marissa, I know your time is very valuable, and we also need to continue. We're on a tight schedule here, and there are some people that really are making sure that we stay on the clock. But I really appreciate your time. One last question. I always ask this. What is one last thing you want to give to our audience here?
Embrace AI enhancement and augmentations. And if you deploy it in the right manner, you're going to have significant progress and you're going to grow, right? And the most important, you're going to free up your engineers from the autonomous, mundane tasks and let them build on what they're good at and drive the business forward.
Wow.
Awesome. Dankie.
Bye, dankie.
Bye, dankie. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Marissa. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Great.
Wow, Jan.
Yeah, so that's
impressive, right?
Yeah. Huh? So we were in the UK.
Yeah.
We went to South Africa. We have our customer in South Africa. But now, what is this technology? She spoke about session smart routing, 128T, all this good stuff. So if all is well, we have Jonathan House on the call. And Jonathan is our business development director for session smart routing in EMEA. Hi, Jonathan. How are you doing?
Hey, Jan. Doing well, thank you. How are you guys?
We're awesome.
Good show so far.
It has been a good show so far. Thank you for recognizing, John.
Yeah.
So yeah, John, maybe a small introduction about yourself, maybe where you're coming from, and then really what is it that Marissa embraced so much, and where she said, hey, this is really a lifesaver for me for that vast continent she was talking about. And truly, Africa is huge. If you look at the global map, yeah, it's amazing. So Jonathan, yes, please.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah. And look, but before I dive into anything else, I just want to add my personal thanks to Marissa. You know, it's been a pleasure from a personal perspective to work with such a customer who's got such a strong vision, as you know, comes across really strongly when you hear Marissa talk about the mission that they're on. So thank you, Marissa. Thank you to the CMC team for the partnership, and you know, I look forward to continuing to do great things together in the future. So yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Howes. I work in the Session Smart Router sales team here in Europe. I joined Juniper. Actually, I rejoined Juniper. So I was with Juniper a bunch of years ago. So have great memories being relived coming back into the Juniper fold. I joined through the acquisition of 128 Technology, which is where the product that we're going to spend some time focusing on in the next few minutes comes from, the Session Smart router. Specifically, what we're going to do is talk about some exciting new offerings from Juniper. So WAN assurance with the Session Smart router, bringing together into one solution the strengths of Mist with the Session Smart router, or SSR as I'm going to call it from now on. So across all technologies, Juniper's singular focus is driving exceptional user experiences. Of course, from a network perspective, user experiences are end-to-end data journeys from a client device through the wireless LAN infrastructure onto the wired network and onto the WAN. And then finally to wherever the application is resident, be it on the private DC or public cloud. So when we're talking about delivering exceptional experiences, or in this case, finding out why Bob is having a poor video experience, we need to look at the whole data journey from client to cloud, including the WAN, something we can now do with WAN assurance and the SSR. You've heard a lot today about Mist and the rich routing stack, the advanced AI and ML insights and automation, the architectural advances that mean that Christmas comes every Thursday. Add to that the power of the SSR, and you have, in our view, an unbeatable proposition, the AI-driven SD-WAN. An SD-WAN offering that combines the application awareness and service centricity of the SSR, but now with the SSR's rich telemetry being fed into Marvis, you can get the same insights and automation experience across the WAN as you've traditionally got across the Mist wireless LAN. The SSR's unique session-based technology brings a strong zero-trust security model to the connected security story from Mist, so bringing together the best wireless LAN and wired WAN security propositions on the market into one integrated offer. Before we go on, I'm conscious that what we're presenting here is a vision that's coming from Juniper. And while we're getting some great feedback around WAN assurance with the SSR from customers and partners, I'd love to get your view on where you're at on this integration journey. So if we could just jump onto the poll that we've got lined up, that would be great. Here we go. So as I said, you know, we're pretty convinced that integration in terms of bringing together the wireless LAN and the wired LAN is the future. But if you could just take a couple of seconds to give us your view, whether you disagree, so you don't see it yet, you see, you know, LAN and WAN as two separate technologies, or partially agree, for some projects you're probably, you know, maybe considering integration, for others not, or if you're fully on board and you see that tighter integration brings more business value and you're actually headed in that direction. So while you vote, I've got to say, if everyone comes back and says disagree, then I might join the Great Resignation and go and join Ruben doing some kite surfing, because that looked amazing, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just, oh, there we go. Well, unfortunately, you're going to keep me strapped to the desk, because it's great to see that the majority of you agree that you know, tighter integration is the way forward. All right. So look, of course, you know, SD-WAN isn't a new concept. There have been SD-WAN solutions on the market for 10 years or so. But Juniper's contention is that it's time for the SD-WAN to evolve, and it needs to evolve along 3 axes. The first axis is the end user experience. Of course, experience starts with measurement. If you can't measure it, you've got no baseline for improving it. The SSR's unmatched visibility and granularity on each session as it goes across the fabric gives measurable user experience for every user every minute. Secondly, our focus on driving the network to deliver an application-level SLE means improved voice and video quality with a failover time typically fast enough to keep a call up during failover. And finally, leveraging the power of Marvis for insights and automation brings much needed help to managing WAN complexity. Second axis is improving the IT experience. According to a recent poll I saw from Heavy Reading, 9 out of 10 CSPs, when interviewed around their SD-WAN solutions, cited SD-WAN solution complexity as very challenging. And in terms of managing all of that complexity. So benefiting from AI ops from client to cloud and having all support tickets routed through Marvis is a huge benefit. And as Jan said at the beginning of the session, we're regularly seeing customers having their support ticket load drop by 90+%. Finally, security. We've already talked about Zero Trust as being an integral part of the evolved SD-WAN story, but a smooth migration to SASE, the extensible APIs that you get with the SSR, very similar to the MIST proposition, and real-time anomaly detection means Juniper's AI-driven SD-WAN is setting, we believe, a new benchmark for SD-WAN solutions. So if we can move on to the next slide, perfect. Let's focus just for a couple of minutes on the unique value of the SSR solution. Firstly, if you know anything about the SSR, you'll probably be aware that we deliver the SD-WAN use case without using overlay tunnels like GRE or IPsec, as Marissa so eloquently said. The immediate impact of that is that we return 30 to 50% of the bandwidth on every link to the application workloads that bring value to your customer's business. Or to put it another way, we give 30 to 50% more goodput, not just throughput through the network. Simple result is that applications on an SSR network just work better. Tie that with our application centricity, so driving the network underlay to deliver an application level SLE, and you have a superior user experience. Simple as that. Finally, we'll spend a minute on encryption. If you use an overlay tunnel-based SD-WAN technology, i.e. any of the other solutions on the market, you have to re-encrypt traffic as you put it into a tunnel, even if your payload is already encrypted. Just adding more overhead and reducing further your goodput. As we don't use tunnels, we don't have to re-encrypt. Rather, we approach the problem with a feature called adaptive encryption, where the SSR can detect if the payload is already encrypted and not re-encrypt if it is. So again, increasing the goodput. So finally, let's look at what the integration or WAN assurance with the SSR delivers. Again, it's all about delivering experiences against service level expectation for client to cloud and using AI ops to gain insight and automate remediation where possible. Those insights come at 3 levels. So working from the bottom of the chart upwards, first insights are at the device level. So is the device healthy or, for example, overheating? Secondly, at the WAN link level. So is there a cable issue impacting performance, as we've heard earlier in the webinar? If so, where is it? Or is there significant link congestion impacting performance? Finally, at the application level, looking at jitter, latency, and loss across the application data journey. All of this is now available through the MIST portal with SSR WAN assurance. So I'll wrap up by saying that if you want a deeper dive, just reach out either to me or to your local Juniper contacts. Thank you for your time and attention. I'll let you get back to Jan, and it's been a pleasure having the chance to share the news around WAN assurance with SSR with you. Thank you, Jan.
No, wonderful, Jonathan. And if I just want to summarize it again, the way I see it is 3 key things, and just to see if I paid a lot of attention to you. Number 1, SSR, Session Smart Routing. we are going to route based on a profile, a person, an application, a device, God knows what, in a very intelligent way. And even if one link goes down, we immediately forward it to another link without interrupting, or maybe just a slight click in a voice call, but not really dropping the service. Amazing.
Exactly.
This is wonderful technology. Secondly, SVR, secure vector routing. And if I'm not mistaken, Jonathan, this is going to be a next standard, right, in the
That's
industry?
right. There's a draft been submitted to the IETF. So
yeah, so
exactly.
this is led by us, really new, cool things, and we're going to standardize this in the globe. And what is so special on that secure vector routing is intelligent routing. When intelligent security, when something is already encrypted, why do encrypt it again? You know, it saves a lot of bandwidth, it saves a lot of cost, and that's what Marissa also shared. It's 40-50% less bandwidth required because there's a lot of overhead that is not really needed. And then last but not least, that AI intelligence that is built in from the get-go. So this is, I think, 3 really cool things that we are having inside this wonderful product.
Great summary. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. I paid attention. Very good.
You did.
All right. Take care, and thank you so much.
See you.
To see you guys.
The next speaker is, I'm really proud, Gabe, because it is an honor to speak to or with a coworker of with the coolest car brand or sports car manufacturer in the world. Let's welcome Daryl, the IT. I don't want to call it administrator, I think, but I will let you. But Daryl, welcome to our call. How does it feel to work for the coolest car manufacturer in the world?
Thank you very much, Jan. Please, the pleasure is all mine. Juniper and NIST is an absolutely fantastic company to work for. To work for Aston Martin, hey, there's ups and downs, just like any other company. But yeah, it's pretty cool to be in the offices and the production facilities that produce the vehicles. It's really strange when you see a car kind of out in the wild. You become a bit desensitized to it in the factory because you sort of see loads of cars.
Yeah.
You see one out in the wild in the village where I live, which is an hour's drive away from the factory. And we built that. It's just fantastic. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, amazing.
Really
and apologies, I didn't want to diminish your job to administrator. You are the architect for the Aston Martin network. How crucial is the network for you, Daryl?
Oh, thanks. It changes every week. Please don't worry about it. So I am the network architect and team lead for the network side of IT at Aston Martin. So I look after a small group of network engineers. There are 4 of us in total. We look after around 250 switches across about 10 different sites. So these are not Aston Martin dealerships. These are production facilities, engineering, research and development, test sites. So I live in Northampton in the UK, and that's just about half an hour away from Silverstone. You might have heard of Silverstone Formula One.
Sure,
so we've got a site there. So I spent some time looking after the network out of that site. Networking is massively important, just like it is for any other business there. We've got such a mixture of sites, though. You know, like I said, production facilities, offices, warehouses, logistics, all that kind of stuff to produce the vehicles. And we've got a bit of a saying that in any site, you need 3 things to get that site working. You need running water, you need power, and you need data, but not necessarily in that order. So it's quite a challenge to get the data in before, you know, the carpet goes down or anything. So I've got high vis, hard hat, steel toes. I'm right in there after the electricians installing the network. So yeah, exciting times.
I love you compare networking with water, plumbing, and stuff like that. But if there are leaks in the plumbing, you have an issue.
That's right. That's exactly right. Daryl, you are, could you share a bit about how you've experienced, the Juniper Mist platform for your business? What does it mean for you and your company and your teams? Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Okay, so we are a long-standing Juniper customer. We've had Juniper now for around the last 6 years. So it went in just before I started. I've been with Aston 5 years now. We are very early on in our Mist journey. We've recently acquired the wired assurance licenses, and as we speak, or rather just before we were speaking, I've been populating our Mist platform with the switches that we've already got in place. So like I said, we are still very early on in that journey. We are fresh out of a proof of concept. So as Talon was saying earlier about, get the proof of concept in, absolutely, 100% agree with that. We are fresh out of that. So I've got a good first-hand experience of what the wireless can do, what the wired can do, and just sort of putting that together in a live environment now. It's really great. We've got an existing Juniper platform. Like I said, we've got those 250 FPCs in our network. We mostly use virtual chassis. So we've got around 2 or 3 members per virtual chassis. It's great to see a platform that can visualize a virtual chassis properly. So many monitoring systems, so many third-party monitoring systems just struggle with that, monitoring the actual chassis itself. All I want to know is, where are the ports? What's the power doing? What's the CPU doing? And Mist is really good for that kind of thing. So yeah, it's early days, but really, really promising. I'm really looking forward to the future.
So two things, Daryl, that I want to maybe you double click. I heard you say you had a situation before Mist. Now there is a situation going to be after Mist. Yeah. How did that feel, taking that step to go to Mist? And then the other thing is proof of concept. That's music to my ear. But what were the success criteria in your proof of concept, and how were we to support there with you?
Okay, so just going back to your first question, then you said about the migration going before Mist and to Mist. Like I said, had the existing switching platform already. We were managing those via the CLI, no problem there. We're starting to import those now into Mist. Little bit of nervousness around that. What we didn't want to do is have a cloud that completely takes over from where we were traditionally managing the network. We still wanted to exercise a little bit of control over that until we've developed the site templates, the switch templates, and all that kind of thing. Mist is great for that, because you know what? All you can do is click on adopt a switch. It gives you some code, you paste the code on there, the switch pops up in the dashboard. It doesn't have to be managed. You can start small. You can start by just monitoring. So at the moment, I say it's monitored by Mist, not necessarily managed by Mist. But we've got that path to go through. So that's really key for us, that we don't go sort of big bang, and I don't go, pushing out new technology to the network overnight. I can, but I've only got a small team to look after. So we have to introduce that very carefully. And I think your second question, just regarding the kind of the business kind of leadership on that one, was really great insights into the switching on that one. Yeah. So it's fantastic, really good.
Wonderful, thank you. Gaby, you had a question?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering about you also had, I presume, but that's an assumption. You usually cannot make assumptions, but you had some conversations internally and for yourself as well, right? On moving from the old to the new, and you're taking a phased approach, which I think really makes a lot of sense, because what our experience is with customers is when within that journey of putting in the AI, customers are being surprised every time again in every step you make about the new things you get across, and that that things are taken literally out of your hands, right? It's can you share a bit of that on your end on that part? Did you already experience?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, like we said just a moment ago, that it all starts with the proof of concept. Let's say we want to get from A to B, but how do we do that? So I've got some really strong views on proof of concepts, and I've seen proof of concepts go very bad. I've seen them go very well. Thankfully, the Mist one has gone very well. And it really does start with a success criteria. You were saying about that. And that's you're mapping out your journey then. You're saying, okay, I want to plug in an access point and I want to know how long it takes to boot up. Okay, great, tick. I want to plug in 2 access points. Now I want to see a device roam from one to the other. And I want to see how that happens in the Mist platform. What am I looking for? I know a device can roam. That's not what I'm proving here. I'm not proving a point. I'm proving a concept. So if I do that, how does that look in Mist? Oh, okay, that looks like that. Tick. So you can go through all these success criteria. I can go on for hours. I think we push for time here, but I can go on for hours about how to develop a success criteria. The important thing to do at the end of that, though, I think, is draw a line under it. Draw a line right there. When you've got your successes down, that's it, stop. Because proof of concepts have a habit of scope creep. And what you don't want is to start developing that further out, unless you're going to plan that in the first place. In which case, it's not really a proof of concept, it's just a phase one of a project. You've already decided that. If you want to see what it looks like, just do a Google image search. If you want to see what it feels like, ask your account manager for a live demo. But if you want to get hands-on, that proof of concept has to be contained. It has to have a success criteria to get the most out of it. And then you can say at the end, right, take it away. Now I know what I want. Because you know what, when I took away that proof of concept, I had users coming up to me and saying, hey, Daryl, that wireless you did the other day, the guest wireless that you set up, that's brilliant. What happened to it? Oh, sorry, it's proof of concept. I had to decommission it. Wow. Oh, can we get that back? Oh, well, yeah, but now it's up to finance to sign off on it.
Yeah, exactly,
so
right.
You're really baiting that. Really, it was sort of deliberately done there. I think the one key thing that the users really liked, and that I liked from a management point of view, the multiple pre-shared keys. You talked about it earlier. I joined the call actually from the beginning, so it's really been interesting to see other people talking about their experience, really similar to us. Multiple pre-shared keys, how can I automate that? Can I take my Access ID and just scan it and print out a code that's unique to me? And I've got all of my devices. Everyone's got half a dozen devices each. I don't want to keep registering myself. But if I can automate that, the API, fantastic. Sky's the limit. So really, really keen on this. Yeah.
Hey, Daryl, what's your agenda looking like the next couple of weeks? I want to take you to all my customers, man. This is just music to my ears.
No, fantastic. I could talk all day about our experiences, and we are only at the very beginning. I think what stands us out is from a unique point of view. I mean, listening to Talan talking earlier about how many users he's got. Yep, definitely got that experience. We've got manufacturing, we've got warehousing, we've got offices, but we've got it all under the same roof. So we've got all those challenges in one go with a few people to manage. So yes, next couple of weeks, I think taking holiday that I'm owed, because my managers keep saying it's nearly the end of the year. And I keep saying, wow, is it September already?
Yeah.
It's nearly November. So, so end of November now. So yeah, it's crazy.
I know the
hitting
feeling.
The ground running.
I know the feeling. Gabe, do you have one last question?
No,
because we're very tight on schedule, Daryl. But man, I think Talan, you, myself, Gabe, we should all go to London in a pub and spend some time, because this is amazing.
Absolutely, please, as soon as we can, let's do it.
The last question: what is it going to be? You think, since you've been there? What is it that you want to share with the audience here? One last thing.
One last thing. Too many last things. If I can get them in really quickly. Fundamentals. Get your fundamentals down. Get your documentation down. Get a success criteria down. Definitely. Be humble. You're always learning. And buy Mist. It's as simple as that.
Well, that's really awesome.
Where is this check?
Couldn't do better.
All right, Daryl. It was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
you.
Take care.
See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Wow.
All right. So, wow, that was
that was quite something, right? And especially the part about the SLEs, man. It's amazing.
And it's truly, so for the people on the call, please, try it out. Give us your worst side. We will turn on the lights. With that said, I want to introduce the next topic. We're almost towards the end. It's my friend and colleague Patrick Tarbett. Patrick, he's leading our MSP business, and I thought it was a good idea to, what we all heard. It could be maybe intimidating because there's a lot to digest. There's a lot of enthusiasm, but our partners can do all these. Or could streamline this for our customers. So Patrick, he's going to lead us into what is MSP, what are we contributing to MSP, and how can it help your business or driving your change, Patrick?
Yeah, thanks very much, Jan. Yeah, so I'm Patrick Tarbit. Hi, everyone. And yeah, we're in the final stages of today, so great stamina. And I would like to wish Daryl and the whole Aston Martin team, by the way, best of luck on the weekend in Qatar. And I wish I was there, but unfortunately not. So yeah, so I look after the managed service program in UK and across Europe with my colleagues Tiago and the wider team. And first of all, I should probably explain what is UMSP, because we can all see it on the slide there. So I'll start with that. So UMSP is our new unified managed services program. So this has been launched back in around May this year, earlier in the summer, and it sits alongside our resale program for partners. But instead of enabling partners to resell equipment, it really is supporting a network as a service go-to-market, which for us, network as a service, there's probably lots of definitions swimming around in people's heads. But for clarity, our unified managed service program, when we talk about network as a service, we're really saying our partners, our MSPs, are owning and controlling the assets, and they are selling a service to our customers. So that's underpinned with service level agreements and all the guarantees that you'd expect there contractually. So a high performing network. And for us, that's based around the 4 tracks of our AI driven enterprise solution that we've heard Sudhir talk about earlier today. And the 4 tracks are wireless and LAN, which we call our access track. The location track, which is all based on the smarts that are built into our wireless access points, right, the Bluetooth beacons. Thirdly, the security track, right, which is managed firewall and secure branch. And finally, the SD-WAN track, which is based on the 128T session smart routing solution that we just heard from Jonathan around. So what does the UMSP program do? It really helps our partners who certify on the program have predictable OEM type pricing, as well as the management tools and other benefits to help them really bring and build and price their own branded service, scalable, repeatable service to clients. It really draws from our previous programs that came in from our acquisitions. So MIST had a program, 128 Technology had an MSP program. This program bring those together. It adds more structure around that and more benefits to our partners, a broader set of services now that we can all take to our enterprise customers. So I'm part of a growing team within our global channel organization. We're raising awareness to our partner and MSP communities around the potential for network as a service. Right? It's a growing delivery and consumption model, as you probably are aware. And we're onboarding partners right now who want to deliver AI-driven portfolio as a service.
Cool. Gabe, anything to add?
Yeah, well, that's great, Patrick.
In a nutshell.
Hi, Patrick. Great to see you, man. Hey, and Patrick, I'm just wondering, could you tell a bit about why this matters for customers, right? Because customers in general, they are used to, the most typical model is to buy and own their own gear and to deploy it, and through the AI of Juniper Mist, and they get incredible benefits like we have just discussed earlier. And in all reason, just to make it very practical, customers always calculate if you have a service instead of that, that typical resale. They just calculate things through. Okay, I get it for a year, 3 years, 5 years, times subscription fee, a number of users per month, and then that's X amount. And usually there's a price difference in between typical resale, owning it yourself as a customer versus buying it just as a service from an MSP, right? So could you tell a bit about why should customers consider a service from a MSP to start with?
Yeah, absolutely, Gaby. So, first of all, we're seeing a huge growth of this model in the marketplace. And actually, this is underpinned by analysts like Markets and Markets, GM Insights, who seeing network as a service growing at 35 to 40% year on year as a delivery model. So clearly there's a demand there. The highest growth that they're seeing around that is in SD-WAN and wireless as a service, which for us is fantastic. It's right in the sweet spot of our AI-driven enterprise solutions that we're all talking about today, which is fantastic. The top sectors in terms of vertical industries that are taking this up the quickest are health, education, retail, but it's across the board, I must say. And we've already seen major projects in largest retailers, in governments, in education, and in finance. Before I go through the points here that are on the slide around the benefits, I'll go into that in a little bit more depth. But I want to trigger a poll. In fact, this is the first of two polls. So let's see if we can do this. The first poll is to our enterprise customers that are on the call, so end user clients who are on the call. And so that should, there we go, it's popped up there. Are you considering network as a service as part of your latest refresh? So if you could click one of those three options, yes, you're seeing it. Yes, I'll consider it, but maybe no active projects at the moment, or no, you're not considering that. So I'll give you a moment there, but at the same time, I'm gonna come back to the results of that in a couple of minutes as I go through the benefits here. So why network as a service? So agility is a big part of this. As you mentioned, Gaby, finance agility, right? The OpEx model could be really useful to different companies financially. Now, it's not going to be across the board, right? Some companies want to amortize CapEx, right? But if you don't want to do that, if you want a very agile OpEx model, maybe balance that against your tax in the current year, for example, versus the depreciation of a CapEx, it could be advantageous financially. Physical scaling, right? You may want to physically scale up or have the option to scale down. Right? If you're opening branches or need to be dynamic around the sizing of your business in general. Hardware refresh, right? You're not tying yourself to hardware. There may actually be a refresh or an evergreen option in your network as a service contract. So you're always on the latest technology. And we've mentioned Wi-Fi 6E, right? Wi-Fi technology is advancing at a hell of a rate, right? We've been through, Wi-Fi 4, 5, 6, now 6E, and obviously, beyond in the future, I'm sure. But if you can stay on the latest technology and pay for the outcome as a service, that's a great benefit. Economies of scale, right, and expertise. Managed service providers have really thought this through. Right? They've added their own applications. It may be they're a specialist in location services, turn-by-turn navigation apps that they've already pre-integrated into the solution, right? And automation so that they can be cost-effective and efficient. Right? Scale of deployment, speed of deployment, reliability. These are all kind of the outcomes that you'd expect from that service provider expertise. So they've built their expertise into their service. They've repeated and can repeat that many times for customers. So you're buying into expertise when you're buying into the service. And it's obviously built on our AI-driven technology, right? And we've heard all about that today. Our Mist AI engine can underpin better service levels, right, than traditional. Preemptive healing, better user experience overall. And then finally, peace of mind. Right. And I've heard people talk about peace of mind as a service. So focus on your core business, your strategic priorities, your innovation. This enables really to focus your own IT teams as a business on how do you automate your own processes? How do you stay ahead of your competition, right? Cost saving, speed, quality of product. With networks as a service, you're not diluting that by having to worry about keeping the lights on and worry about the day-to-day connectivity and security. Right, so can we look at the results of the poll just now? So how many of our enterprise customers are considering? Okay, so yeah, so if we look at answers 1 and 2 in terms of adoption now and future adoption, it looks like the bulk are looking at this for the future, right? But there is a clear majority that are definitely either looking now or looking in the future. So that's fantastic to see, and it sort of underpins obviously what we're seeing in the market. What I would say is if you're kind of not considering it, to be fair, this is a very, very new model, right? Because unlike software as a service, what we're doing here with network as a service is combining hardware and software, right? So it is a new model, and not every vendor offers this at the moment. So have a think whether it could really help you innovate quicker in your core business.
Great, Patrick. That's awesome. I just one last question on this part. Because a lot of customers are definitely looking into this. Whether they should do it themselves or outsource this to an MSP. So good insight. But could you just reflect a little bit on the fact what partners should be? And we need to be a bit quick because we're a bit short on timing. But could you just do a bit of statement on that? Why partners should consider to sign up as an MSP?
Yeah, absolutely. So can we trigger our final poll then?
And this is we're gonna speed up a little bit, Patrick. Sorry for this. Because we're almost at the top of the hour and we still need to do a couple of things. Sorry for that, Patrick.
Fair enough. We can leave the poll. All right. So for our partners, the major points of this are we're providing fixed OEM pricing. That's important because you want a predictable price to build your costs and your profitability around that, so that you can create a pricing schedule that you can scale up and repeat to your customers. We're providing our partners with a multi-tenant portal, right, to view and manage the hardware and software assets, and also show in one place the green, amber, red status of those service level expectations that you saw earlier for all of your customers. So, and this is underpinned by the Marvis AI engine, right, which ultimately helps MSP preempt network degradation, fix issues quickly, and maintain the fantastic user experience that customers are really appreciating. And that's it. So my call to action really is have a look at the network as a service as a model. Really think about the benefits to your business. If you're a partner and you're interested in adopting this, we're really interested in working with you as well. So please get in touch through either your account manager or the Juniper MSP Partners alias that you can see there at juniper.net, or my email address, ptarbet@juniper.net, or get in touch on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you, Patrick. This has been amazing, and thanks for the insight. Sorry, Gabe.
Yeah, no worries. That's really good. Thank you, Patrick. Love it. And we see great traction on your part, for MSPs in general. So let's keep up the good work, and thank you for the overview. And,
absolutely. Exciting times.
Yeah. See ya. So with that, Jan, over to you, man. It's a wrap.
Yeah, so closing and lessons learned, folks, lessons learned. So when we summarize everything we've learned, I see 5 vectors in actually doing a secure migration. First and for all, we got to make sure we have the right platform. The platform has to be scalable and resilient. Really make sure you can grow with the platform. You can grow from one AP, as you heard Daryl say. Try one AP, try 2 APs, roam between the APs, see how the system is behaving. The resilience and the programmability. With all the customers we interviewed today, they say speed and agility is really at the essence for them. And make sure that that platform is efficient. Make sure you have a phased approach. All the customers we spoke about is first validate the solution, validate it in a lab. Then from the lab, go to the proof of concept. From the proof of concept, you go to production. And with our platform, you don't have to overhaul the system each time when you walk to another phase. I have a customer in the Netherlands that started with a proof of concept. Last week, I think they placed an order of another 250 APs. They still call it a proof of concept. And they just grow, and grow. The second step is expand. Start with access points, switches, or WAN. It doesn't matter. Whatever is urgent for you to replace. But if you really want to have that end-to-end user experience, that full control over that user experience, grow with us into your network, and then unleash. unleash the potential of that platform that we have. Because with API integration, I mentioned to you this story about this RFP where we had to integrate with DNA, Cisco DNA spaces, where, enable location services. We have sub-second response time with 1 meter accuracy for location services. Integrate with our platform. We can save money. We can make you more green and activate your customers, your end users, your users in the network, activate them to respond to the network or use the network in a different way. Make sure the network is compliant. Make sure that it is compliant with the industry standards and with the security or compliance policy or privacy policies in your regions. Secure. Make sure your data in motion and data in rest is completely safe and secure. It's encrypted. It's separated. Nobody else can touch upon it. In Mist, this is our security brief. You can look at it. Each customer has their unique PKI infrastructure and has their unique certificate authority to really make sure that all the data is completely separated from one another. And then operation. Through our Marvis actions, in that Marvis actions, we really give you and your that really good overview, that insights in what do you need to do today to keep your network running, to keep the lights on. All that together you can find in the Mist platform. Anything else to add, Gabe?
Well, last but not least, I would like to thank everyone here for the fact that you're here. I would thank our customers and our customers or prospects actually looking into us as a Mist platform. I want to thank the partners here as well to look at this. But I would like to close this with the call to action, just to give it a try. Like Ruben Lenten mentioned, I need to give it a try, not to only jump on the board with the kite surf, but also just to pull that bar and just do that mega loop moving forward. So I would like to invite you, reach out to us here in the team or to your representatives locally, just to try us out, give it a try, define that POC, give us your worst nightmare, and we will show you the path forward into that POC. So please consider us for a proof of concept in a real production environment, and let's find out together what benefits it will bring up to you. So those were my closing comments.
And those benefits are amazing, because getting that new beginning. We have another customer, a large university, at least 10,000 APs, and the IT architect he shared with me, Jan, the last 5 years we had some parts of the network just rebooting, and we really didn't know why. And we start to replace everything with Mist, and guess what? It was still rebooting. But hey, we learned to live with it. It didn't change. It didn't hurt us. However, in Mist they actually showed us where the problem was, and it was just a stupid failed cable that was going into that direction, and it made the APs reboot. And we finally are now operating on a reboot-free network.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a new beginning, but please, folks, if we could bring up the QR code again, scan this QR code for your proof of concept. We really would like to do. And then last but not least, the SD-WAN bootcamp. This is a bootcamp for our SSR. Everything you heard from our colleague Jonathan, scan this barcode as well. Join this one. This is really, really, really good. Last one before we show the closing video. Stay a little bit longer on the call. We're going to have a survey filled to ask you to fill out, and this survey is asking you for feedback, because we really, really want to make sure that this is very beneficial for you, and we want to spread out the word. So Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, the team here that helped us making this happen. Thank you for the team in Juniper as well that made this happen. So much, much appreciated. Looking forward to meet every single person that was on the call.
All right. See ya.
AI in action.
AI in action.
Every time you look back on what you've achieved, I think it's more the path that took you to your destination. It's the story you tell, how you got there. In the end, it's a lot of small steps that you have to take. Every single one is worth taking. There are no shortcuts. It's always a new beginning and a new journey that we're embarking on.